I'm good, Agnes, thank you, but I'm also a little sad at the state of our country. So that's the reason I am doing this show today.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Last Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome. Glad you could join us. This is Sound Health Options, which is actually a play on words. Sound health. Sound health as in stable. Sound health as in dealing with good health. So Robert O. Becker says there's only one health, but there's many diseases. And so we do this show in support of self-health. Thank you. We're getting comments here from the chat. There's also a chat in Blog Talk if people want to join us with there. I have put the information in the Blog Talk chat on how someone can join us on WebEx because we are simultaneously broadcasting on WebEx so people can see what we're doing. We're sponsored today by the Sound Health Institute of Bioacoustic Biology, located in Athens, well, actually Albany, Ohio, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And they've told us recently that they are going to turn our small town into a fracking capital of the world. Now, if you don't know what fracking is, they put some kind of solution down in the ground to bubble out the oil and gas, and it ruins Mother Earth, and it does. A lot of people think it doesn't, but I have been around where this is happening. Nice comment there, Richard. He says, crap, fracking. We have decided, Richard and I have decided to use that as our new cuss word, fracking. So that's what he's referring to. I've seen some of the potholes that you could drop a house into out in the country here where they have done fracking. They keep telling you nothing's going to happen. Well, something is absolutely happening, and they're trying to keep it from you. Hence, we're going to talk about judgments and judging other people today as we go along. I'm also going to play a video that was sent in by TJ that I think is absolutely incredible. I'd like to introduce you to a new book. We are going to have these people on our show. How statin drugs really lower cholesterol and kill you one cell at a time. And it does something called increase your reductase, which makes your body make more cholesterol. So these statin drugs they're putting people on, and millions of people, and they're making billions of dollars. And all they're doing is making you more ill, likely so you'll die quicker. I don't know what their issue is, but this is a fantastic book about what is going on. Let me read just a little bit off the back cover. This is by Hannah and James Yosef. The Yosefs have written the most stunning expose. In plain language, they reveal the science, the corruption, and the enormous conspiracy it took to bring statins to market. As fast-paced as a Mickey Spillane novel, they report the research, the fraud, and the facts like a detective in hot pursuit of a Nazi war criminal. It is riveting, and that's the back over. They have accomplished the impossible. They have made both complex science and medical history fascinating to read. What could not be done in an expose, they accomplished with almost unbelievable ease. It will change your paradigms about medicine forever. And I think one of the biggest places that we're being lied about is about medicine. So that's how we try to fill in the gap. I shouldn't say medicine, I should say health, to bring you ideas and tools in support of self-health. We had a wonderful class. I'm reading comments here. Over 230 chemicals in each injection. Fracking also causes extreme pollution in the air we breathe. Yes. Causes earthquakes. Yes. Each well is injected 6 or 7 times. I just want out of this situation where we're in. We are the highest point in the whole little town. Well, not exactly the whole town. They have a water tower that's taller than us. But I think when this company moves in and they have promised to make Albany the fracking capital of the world, that we just really don't want to be there. I am going to record some of the voices of the people who do fracking, and I will bring that to you. That would be a good show. And if we could figure out a way to bring Richard on with us, he is a great co-host. Great test word, okay. I love it, man. However, holy frack was a cuss expression coined for the space age years ago. Okay. I love these comments. I love it that you guys contribute to the show. So if you want to ask a question, I would certainly hope that you would join in on this one. Just raise your hand. I'll pass a microphone to you, or if you write in a little chat comment, I will try to get it read. As I started to say, we had a wonderful class on Saturday. It was a 2-hour class on nano voice, and we taught people to look at their voice in terms of what they already know but want to confirm, how to tell when people are telling the truth, how to look at allergies, how to look at compatibilities. We are going to be running that class for the next week, so stay tuned at our front page. And in the meantime, go to soundhealthoptions.com/nanovoiceclass.html, and I've just put it in the chat for both rooms here. Well, I thought I put it in the chat for that one. I didn't. So that you can go download the articles we use. We used one on Rand Paul and why he was endorsing Mitt Romney. We did some on the royal couple. We looked at vaccination lies. We looked at Jerry Sandusky and how and why he is guilty or was going to be found guilty. He has been found guilty. But we published this back in November and told them exactly why he was going to be found guilty. So articles here for you. Brian Deere, who tried to do in Dr. Wakefield and how he took down a whole medical journal with him because people stood up and said, enough is enough. We're not going to be doing this anymore. So I think the little film that you're going to be watching here in just a second, this was sent in by T.J. Travers, and it's one of the reasons that I'm doing the show today based on the sense and source of judgment.
Why America is the greatest country in the world.
Diversity and opportunity.
Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way. Why is it
not the greatest country in the world, Professor? That's my answer.
You're saying yes. Let's talk about fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of her paycheck, but you can take it to it at any time you want. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs their time. Colonists. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so fucking smart and they lose this goddamn always. Hey, and with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So, 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom. All right, and yeah, you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. One of them is, there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories. Number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the first period, generation, period, ever period. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yosemite? Sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chests. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured disease, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars, acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. America is not the greatest country in the world anymore. Enough?
I think that is an incredible film, video. You want to call it? Hold on until I change my microphone back so I can hear. When you look at that, I think our country got this way because of apathy, because of trust in people that we shouldn't have trusted, because of greed. A Canadian friend said it is a part of a new TV program called Newsroom. And I'm repeating that. Moon has written it in the chat because people who are with us on Blog Talk can't see the chat. This was a movie called, a clip, I guess, Most Honest 3.5 Minutes in Television. Not only did this guy state the obvious, what we're all living in right now, but he stated what it could be, what it was in the beginning. And I think if this change is going to happen, it's going to change with us one at a time. So today we're going to talk about where does our criteria for judgment come into our world? How do we know who to support, who to love, who to dismiss? How do we create our own values? And that starts with us one at a time. Where are each of us coming from? Who and what are we willing to work toward and defend? I wish I knew what was happening on your iPhone here. Is anybody else having trouble hearing? I guess not, Richard. So, there's an echo, Rick says. I can hear you. Okay, no trouble from other people. So, as we go about teaching these classes, and this was a free one, and there'll be more about your health, but this one was particularly valuable because it allows you to take a video of whoever's talking to you about fracking or whatever. And it allows you to see whether or not they are telling the truth. What is their intention? And we went through this a lot during this 2-day or 2-hour class of looking at people's intentions. I used to teach parapsychology at Ohio University. I taught it for about 10 years until they decided that I didn't have any credentials. It didn't matter that it was a very popular class, that people got a lot out of it, that I got rave reviews. They wanted to close it down because I didn't have the credentials to teach a parapsychology class. It didn't matter that there really is no credential in the field of parapsychology as an instructor in those days. It didn't matter that the degree wasn't possible. It didn't matter to them that I had written my thesis on how and why to teach parapsychology and how to look at critical to believe everybody that comes along. It even says in the Bible, and I think it's in Joel, that your old men will dream, your sons and daughters will prophesy, your old men will dream dreams, your young men will have visions. So how do you tell what to believe even in your visions? Well, I put together a series of questions to allow people to get to their own foundation. Because without a foundation to stand on, a solid one, you can get knocked off by somebody telling you stories. Your emotions can come into play. I'm debating whether to tell you a story or not, but I'll wait. So these 5 questions, if you want to grab a paper and pencil, you'll need these because in order to make judgments, in order to know where you stand, know what is valuable for you. What causes you fear? And what do you do about it? Can you become proactive about your fear? Someone's going to take my children or kidnap them, so I will inform them of how to deal with something in that situation. I fear my children and grandchildren getting shot up with vaccinations at school without their parents' permission. That has happened here. Oh, well, that was a mistake. We thought we had permission. Well, it's too late now. So we have instructed all of our children because they internally bleed when they get these shots. It's just something in my family that we can't take these vaccinations. And by the way, in Obamacare, there's no exception. We really don't know what we're going to do about that. So we are proactive in instructing our children what may happen, what causes you fear, and what you do about it. You can find your values there. And what is a value? Something that is important to you. I'm going to talk a little bit more about values in a minute. The second question, what causes you anger and what you do about it? And that can help you find your foundation. Out of these questions, you can probably find 10 things that you find valuable. I used to think truth was my value. Until I thought of a scenario, Nazis come to the door, or Obamacare people come to the door with their fake search warrant, and they decide that they want my grandma. And your grandma home? I would dance around that. I would say, why do you need to know? Or I would even lie and said, you won't find her here, because I had hidden her so well. And that means that my grandma was more of a value than truth. Because your number one value, you will follow 100% of the time. Well, I'll say 99. What is your number one value? You will honor. You will follow it. And if you break it and don't tell the truth, that's not your value. At least not your first one. What causes you anger and what you do about it? That was a biggie for me. What causes me anger? When someone else is abused or used in a way that's not fair, is not just. That makes me the maddest. People being taken advantage of by other people who have egos but no power, or power in no sense. So out of that, my value is justice. I want justice. I want fair play. And I try to honor justice 100% of the time. And I have something that I need to do about that. If I see unjustness going on, I will do everything in my power to help or hinder the situation. But if it happens anyway, I try to accept with grace. When it happens anyway, it means that it was meant to be in my mind. And I try to see how this would fit with the universe. What am I not seeing that this happened anyway? But that very powerful step for me, do everything that I can do to help or hinder, and then accept. That allows me peace and grace. Peace within me and grace with my universe, with my environment. So if you fear losing your children, that becomes a value, a number one value. And it has to be that way when they're young, and especially in this particular kind of world we're living in. What causes you anger? And as you write these out, you'll begin to see a theme of who you are and what you stand for and what you really want to honor. The fifth question, what you do for people you love, people you care about. What do you do for them? Out of that, you'll find value. And how to turn that around on yourself, check off what are those things you do for yourself. Is there self-love? Is there self-honor in what you do? So maybe for the next week you could take time out just to look at those, and every time something every time a thought comes by, I fear not being appreciated. I fear hurting other people. Above all, I cannot tolerate hurting other people. 2 stories about that. One from a past life. And I had this inordinate hatred of Hitler in Nazi Germany. I couldn't even stand to read about Hitler in textbooks. And we had very few textbooks. We had to share them because I went to a 4-room school and there was only 12 of us in my grade. And we only had like 6 textbooks, so we all had to share. So I really should have revered this textbook. But I hated this information about Germany and Hitler. It made me so angry. So when I grew up, I decided that I was going to do a past life regression because I was still ticked off. about Hitler. So I went into a past life regression, and I was a young girl, about 15, and I was being taken care of physically, but I was being abused by a Nazi officer. And I couldn't stop it. I had no power. I couldn't run away. There was no place to run to. The choice was be shot or be put up with these very sexual but caring advances from this officer. So I couldn't stand that idea, and so I went to a higher self in this past life regression and began to look at Hitler, and could I care about him as an adult? No, the hatred was still there. How about as a young man? No. How about as a young child? No. I still couldn't care because he was mean then. Only when I could look at Hitler as a new baby in a cradle, then I could care about him. That means that we, the society, his parents in some way, created Hitler because we didn't say no, we didn't say enough is enough, or his parents didn't, or they abused him. We don't know the real story. But only then, as a tiny baby. So then I went to the officer in a higher self-consciousness, and I said, how could you do that to a young girl? He said, don't you remember, before we went back to our lives and our bodies, one person had to play the perpetrator, and one person had to play the victim. And you could not stand the thought of playing a perpetrator. So I took that role. Only then could I forgive this officer. Only then could I release this from my body. Only then was I free from the stress of what's going on. So this idea about judgments comes from our past history, our past lifetimes, our past experience, our past environment. So as you begin to look at this, add to that list that you're going to do, and this is from Voltaire, to learn who rules over you, simply find out who you are not allowed to criticize. And wasn't there an executive order passed by Obama about domestic terrorists, that if you speak against the government, that you can be considered a domestic terrorist? I'll read that again. To learn who rules over you, simply find out who you are not allowed to criticize. And how can you get yourself out from under that if you're an adult? Because this is supposed to be a free country. You heard the guy talk about it. Supposed to be free. We recently had a woman in our office, and anything I told her or asked her for, she countermanded. No, we'll do it this way. She turns things around to either something very hateful or mean or something boastful about her and demeaning to others. That let me know, and instead of balking against her, let me know she was a very unhappy, unsafe, feeling very unsafe as a person. She needed the job in which I was the boss, but we parted ways. I didn't have time to fix her. I couldn't have her in my life. I couldn't have her in my world. She was a disruptive influence in my entire office. And yes, she needed a job, but my judgment was, which is more important to me, this woman's life and her need for a job, or protecting an entire staff from her abuse? My value became my staff. And I often ask when people start things like this, was what you said necessary? Was it kind? And was it truthful? So each time you start to talk, was it necessary? Was it kind? Was it truthful? That will set you free. If you say something to this person that that person said, but you say it in a little different way, your husband's never had an affair, except with me. You add just a little bit with it, and you hurt that person when it wasn't even valuable to you to say it, except you could hurt somebody. So to find your own foundation, you have to get rid of the things that you're doing that cause you stress. And demeaning others is part of that. Twisting things just a little bit is part of that. We've got a show coming up about mean women and queen bees, and we want to do it as a round table because it shows you how to get around those people who do that, how to call them on it. Every time you do something like that, every time you lie, steal, cheat, whatever, that adds energy to your body. It adds energy to the body that we consider our electrical body. There's been books written about this. The Body Electric was written by Robert O. Becker, rewritten recently with Gary Sheldon. It's a fascinating book that talks about our bioelectric cells. I'm reading from the back cover. Robert O. Becker, a pioneer in the field of regeneration and its relationships to the electrical currents in living things, challenges the established mechanistic understanding of the body. He found clues in the healing process in the long-discarded theory that electricity is vital to life. You'll see books by Jerry Tennant now who's picked that up, and he helps cure, he says cure, the electrical system, and then the body cures itself. Every time we have a thought, every time you say something, it becomes part of that electrical body. And I'm going to explain a new kind of genetics, an experiential genetics. DNA can be influenced and reprogrammed by words and frequency. It has been proven. Influenced by words and frequencies. I would think that some of Jose Delgado's work would support the idea that it can be programmed with thought. You don't even have to say the words. You program yourself by the words, the deeds, and the thoughts that you do, and that electrical potential of your body becomes your foundation. When we begin to, one, know what our foundation is, and two, value our own foundation, then that foundation becomes something that we can stand tall and straight, and this is what I stand for. This is my line. Because in order to change this world, I shouldn't say the world, in order to change our America, we need to stand strong as individuals. You'll see it now in the movement against milk. You'll see people coming out and saying, this is not going to happen. You'll see it with Andrew Wakefield when the journal of medicine was trying to do him in. People rallied around him. This is not going to happen. Recently in Italy, we talked about this last week, MMRs, measles, mumps, rubella shots, were in court and decided that they are detrimental. Now, Italy's outlawing them. Why doesn't the U.S. do the same? Because the drug companies and the government value the money first. And there is an incredible piece of information that I want to share, but I can't share all of it, I have found a connection between polonium and your body's ability to rebuild itself from a cellular level. I need to add that to our radiation class, which, by the way, is available for you at soundhealthoptions.com/radiationclass.html. Would you put that in for people, Moon? We are going to leave that up 24/7 because we think it's so incredibly important. There's a system in the body that replenishes itself all the time, and that's what these isotopes are attacking. The Fukushima isotopes, X-rays, other kinds of things, CSA, they're getting us coming and going with these isotopes, and I found the clue. And for those of you who are practitioners, that's the class I'm teaching this afternoon. I'm going to give you those frequencies so that you can help people. And I'm going to put it out on our site that people who want to be tested can send us a vocal print, and we will test them and give them the nutritional antidote for all of this. Somebody, and it looks like Russia is behind it, and I know that's kind of far-fetched, but Russia was the one that originally came up with polonium, and it's the basis of most explosions, nuclear explosions. It's the base. So when you look at Fukushima, there it is, and all the other pieces too. And for those of you who come into class, I will give you the frequencies for that. It interferes with the field, the electromagnetic potential of our body. We each have this field. You saw Robert O. Becker's book talking about it. Lynn McTaggart and Bruce Lipton talks about it in the field and the matrix. And we, you, individual, you are the only person that can allow changes and pain and hurt and stress and sorrow and happiness and elation and pleasure and grace to enter into your field and to be the best you can be. One of the things we do at the center is give people back frequency with an electromagnetic potential attached to it. But we didn't know that that's what we needed to do, and we've been doing it since 1995. I just heard the sounds that people needed, and this is what we need to look at people's body. We're looking at the magnetic potential. You have an electrical system, and each thought, each pain, each walk, each notice, everything that happens to you adds or subtracts to this electrical energy that is all controlled by a magnetic potential. They say in string theory, modern string theory, that we are made of these tiny, tiny, infinitesimal little strings. But they readily admit they don't know what makes each string make up an eyeball or a kneecap or whatever. That's what we tapped into. That's what we can do. That's what we do every week in our lab with our clients that have volunteered to be patients for us. I'll have to say patients, that makes it medical. We found a way to do this because I have very strange hearing and very unusual vocal cords. This is our ace in the hole to change the world and stop this. And I am willing to give and give and give in order to stop this. My value is that no one be hurt. I think that comes from growing up in a family of severe abuse. And I could take the abuse and the chopping and the cuts, but what I couldn't stand was my brother and sister begging not to be hurt. Please, please don't hurt me. That tainted or enhanced me for my lifetime because I can't stand the pain of other people. I can't stand that they have to experience it. So my rose-colored wish for the world, when we're being beat on by people who are lying to us, is to give away the nano and give away the class and see that it gets circulated around the world. And they're taking away the nutrition from depleted soils and chemical fertilizer. So we're giving away nutrition class, and GMO food is causing cell signaling. So we're giving away Parkinson's class. And the guys on the front coming back with PTSD and killing themselves every day, so we're giving away a PTSD class. And chemtrails and pollution and bird flu, so we're giving away those frequencies, countervailing what's going on environmentally. Allergies, this radiation stuff is causing allergies. We're giving away that class and that software. The radiation itself needs to be tested. We're giving away that software. If you know anybody that can help us do this, put it on your Facebook or Twitter or wherever and say, go watch this class. Go to soundhealthoptions.com. You have a right to know, and this is the tool. Everybody else is talking about it. Well, most people are talking about it. I don't want to make generalizations here, but they're too big. Go there and begin to share this information. We're going to put it on YouTube. This has to come back to us one at a time. Who do we support? Who do we love? Who do we remove from our lives? I can think of a lot of Congress people. Because we have this electrical body, it has to behave. And what makes it behave is magnetic potential. Our organization has tapped into that. We can help your body heal itself. If you don't want to do it yourself, we'll do it for you. Just get in touch. Go to our site and look at options, clinical services. It'll tell you what it is. It's got videos there for you. It will tell you all the costs, which ones are free, which one costs something, and on and on and on. We are waiting to help, not only to give you the software so you can do it for yourself, to support you so that you can go into your community and for free, with free software, and we will support you on your radio shows to get you up and running. You have to buy a microphone. Less than $50, probably less than $25, a microphone. And we can help you set up a business so that you can help us get this information to the community. Because for years I've been saying there is an electrical body. There is a magnetic body. And that when you read Robert O. Becker's book, you'll find out that the electrical potential of the body, when it becomes zero, it's neither positive nor negatively charged, nothing is there anymore. It's like whatever was there spontaneously combusted, and because it had the perfect electrical potential. Now, every time we think anything, we say anything, it adds to that electrical potential that can be measured in your brain. It can be measured. Every thought, every activity, every event adds or subtracts from the magnetic potential. Now, I'm not talking about add or subtract as positive or negative. I'm add or subtract as the thoughts that you think. So, your brain can be measured for thought patterns. There's been movies about it. I am arresting you for the murder that you were thinking about of so-and-so. That was a real popular movie. I don't remember the name of it, but I remember seeing it and thinking that time is coming because they can look at it now. It's right around the corner. How do we protect ourselves? We don't even know this is happening. Every time you think a thought, let's say Thinking about horses, that's a -5. Now not -5, just electrical potential that's going on in your brain. It's measured. And I'm making that up because I don't know what thinking about horses really is. Although Jose Delgado invented this thing called a squid where he can measure these kind of thought processes. So what if you were going on a diet? And that's a -5. So now you're a -10 and you're way over here someplace way out of balance. Now, what if reading a book about the ocean is a -7 and doing your dishes is a -3? That's still a -10. And for those of you who believe in reincarnation and you met somebody that you just can't keep your hands off of or you absolutely love, they have this electrical potential that balances you. Maybe you're a -10 and they're a +10 and together you're perfect. Now, what if you need money and that's a +30? So you decide you're going to rob a bank. Needing money is a stressor, but, it's okay. Rob a bank. +100. That drags you way over here someplace. And if you're a +130, you're in stress. How do we bring about the balance? I would like to propose that we have a way to not divide us up by genetic parenthood, but to divide us up by experimental genetics. Think of this as another form of how we fit together in the puzzle, not by the color of our skin or the color of our eyes or the shape of our nose, but by environmental experiences that become part of our being, that become part of our genetics, by the thoughts that we think, by the things we allow to influence us. I think there's two systems going on. Yes, there's genetics, but I also think that the electrical potential, the magnetic potential, what we call coherent resonance in your voice, is what we can look at and actually manipulate with music, with color, with sound, with dance, with architecture. And that's what we do at our center. That's what we teach people at our center. Where do you start? You start by knowing what your foundation is and beginning to live it so people can't knock you off of your belief system. So go back to those questions. What causes you anger? What do you do about it? What causes you fear? What do you do about it? What do you do for the people you love? What also do you do of that list for yourself? Start with doing the things that cause you to love yourself. From there, we learn to honor our values and value what we are and who we are. And we go back to our interactions with people. Was it honest? Was it hurtful? Was it necessary? Was it kind? So many good people have proven that this field exists. I think this system of electromagnetic genetics exists. And when it exists, we can get rid of a lot of extraneous things out of our lives. Do I have to care about my parents anymore? Well, for them I will. Well, they're all dead, so that doesn't matter. But when they were alive, I had a hard time caring from me to my mother, my biological mother. But I cared because she needed it from me. She needed to be released and go to heaven or whatever was going on with her. Every thought that you think that makes you just shudder, oh my God, I did that. Go through those. Get rid of that stress. An unkind word. Go take care of it. Find a way to forgive who you are and what you did. And I'm telling you, as you get older, more of those unkind things come in, or you got caught in a compromising position, and it just makes you shudder. It screws up your face, and oh my God, I want that out of my being. So, okay, I was too stupid and young. I shouldn't have done that. I need to go apologize. That's a problem. But if you did something like have an affair and that's still bugging you, don't go telling your spouse and making them upset too. Find a way to deal with it in your own being, in your own soul, in your own spirit. I think brain is to mind as body is to soul. Brain is to mind as body is to soul. So when you think these things, they begin to manifest in your body, in your organs. And we have been able to show which organs do what. To get rid of those frequencies. Now, sometimes we don't have the pleasure of going back to therapy, and we can do it with sound and color and balance and going back to your values. And from this day forward, live the values that are optimal for you. Not for somebody else, not for your mother, not for your boss, not for your teacher. The values that are right for you. And if you aren't in that situation, you need to change the situation, or you need to say, it's unacceptable for you to talk to me that way. I didn't give you permission to talk to me that way. Find the space for you. Honor what you are. In the next few weeks, go through that list. Maybe we'll have a special class where we can honor that list. I want to share something with you that was sent to me about you reap what you sow. And I'm going to have to read it to those of you who are on Blog Talk with us. Also, this article about DNA can be influenced and reprogrammed, I'll send that to you. Just write to me at Sharry on air or just Sharry Edwards at Gmail. Richard, can we talk about you being part of this show next week maybe? I'll see if I can find a way to do that. You're too important to this movement of fracking and too important not to be able to do that. The second line here at home, so maybe we can bring you in on that line. So this is entitled, You Reap What You Sow, and I hope I can get through it without breaking down, because it's so beautiful. And I don't even remember who sent this to me. Good morning, said a woman as she walked up to a man sitting on the ground. The man slowly looked up. This was a woman clearly accustomed to the finer things in life. Her coat was new. She looked like she had never missed a meal in her life. His first thought was that she wanted to make fun of him, like so many others had done before. Leave me alone, he growled. To his amazement, the woman continued standing. She was smiling. Her even white teeth displayed dazzling rows. Are you hungry, she asked. No, he said sarcastically. I just came from dining with the president. Now go away. The woman's smile became even broader. Suddenly the man felt a gentle hand under his arm. What are you doing, lady? The man asked angrily. I said to leave me alone. Just then a policeman came up. Is there a problem here, ma'am? He asked. No problem here, officer, the woman answered. I'm just trying to get this man to his feet. Would you help me? The officer scratched his head. That's old Jack. He's been a fixture around here for a couple of years. What do you want with him? See that cafeteria over there, she asked. I'm going to get him something to eat and get him out of the cold for a while. Are you crazy, lady? The homeless man resisted. I don't want to go in there. Then he felt strong arms grab the other arm and lift him up. Let me go, officer. I didn't do anything. This is a good deal for you, Jack, the officer answered. Don't blow it. Finally, and with some difficulty, the woman and a police officer got Jack into the cafeteria and set him at a table in a remote corner. It was the middle of the morning, so most of the breakfast crowd had already left, and the lunch brunch had not yet arrived. The manager strode over across the cafeteria and stood by the table. "What's going on here?" the officer, he said. "What is all this? Is this man in trouble?" "This lady brought this man in here to have some food," the policeman answered. "Not in here," the manager replied angrily. "Having a person like that's bad for business." You begin to see all the judgments that's going on here? Old Jack smiled a toothless grin. "See, lady, I told you. Now, if you let me go, I didn't want to come in here in the first place." He's sarcastic and he's not feeling safe. Safe is the operative word here. There's a wonderful book called How to Improve Your Relationships Without Saying a Word. Look at the judgments here. The woman turned to the cafeteria manager and smiled. "Sir, are you familiar with Edie and Associates, the bank firm down the street?" "Of course I am," the manager answered impatiently. "They hold their weekly meetings in one of my banquet rooms." "And do you make a goodly amount of money providing food at these weekly meetings?" "What business is it of yours?" barked the manager. I, sir, am Penelope Eddy, President and CEO of that company." "Oh," said the manager. The woman smiled again. "I thought that might make a difference." She glanced at the cop who was busily stifling a giggle. "Would you like to join us in a cup of coffee and a meal, officer?" she asked. "No, thanks, ma'am," the officer replied. "I'm on duty." "Then perhaps a cup of coffee to go." "Yes, ma'am, that'd be nice." The cafeteria manager turned on his heel. "I'll get your coffee for you right away, officer." The officer watched him walk away. "You certainly put him in your place," he said. "That was not my intent. Believe it or not, I have a reason for all this." She sat down at the table across from her amazed dinner guest. She stared at him intently. "Jack," she said, "do you remember me?" Old Jack searched her face with his old, rheumy eyes. "I think so. I mean, you do look familiar." "I was a little older, perhaps," she said. "Oh, I'm a little older, perhaps," she said. "Maybe I even filled out more than in my younger days when you worked here, and I came through the door one day very cold and hungry." "Ma'am," the officer said questioningly. He couldn't believe that such a magnificently turned-out woman could ever have been hungry. "I was just out of college," the woman began. "I had come to the city looking for a job, but I couldn't find anything. Finally, I was down to my last few cents and had been kicked out of my apartment. I walked the street for days. It was February and I was cold and nearly starving. I saw this place and walked in on the off chance that I could get something to eat." Jack lit up with a smile. "Now I remember," he said. "I was behind the serving counter. You came up and asked if you could work for something to eat. I said that it was against company policy." "I know," the woman continued. "Then you made me the biggest roast beef sandwich that I'd ever seen, gave me a cup of coffee, and told me to go over to the counter table and enjoy it. I was afraid that you would get in trouble. Then when I looked over and saw you put the price of the food in the cash register, I knew then that everything would be all right." "So you started your own business?" old Jack said. "I got a job that very afternoon. I worked my way up. Eventually I started my own business that, with the help of God, prospered." She opened her purse and pulled out a business card. "When you finish
90 seconds.
When you finish in here, I want you to pay a visit to Mr. Lyons. He's the personnel director of my company. I'll go talk to him now, and I'm certain he'll find something for you to do around the office," she smiled. "I think he might find the funds to give you a little advance so that you can buy some clothes and get a place to live until you get on your feet. If you ever need anything, my door is open to you." There were tears in the old man's eyes. "How can I ever thank you?" she said. "Don't thank me," the woman answered.
60 seconds.
"To God goes the glory. Thank Jesus he led me to you." Outside the cafeteria, the officer and the woman paused in the entrance before going their separate ways. "Thank you for all your help, officer," she said. "Oh, on the contrary, Miss Eddy," he answered. "Thank you. I saw a miracle today, something I will never forget, and thank you for the coffee." If you've missed knowing me and this is from the email person, you've missed nothing. If you've missed some of my emails, you might have missed the laugh. But if you missed being kind and supportive to another person, you have missed one of the greatest joys that being alive has ever offered. Thank you for being with us today. I certainly appreciate it.
10 seconds.
And we'll talk to you next week. It's been a beautiful show for me. I hope the same for you.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, we have ended Blog Talk, ended chat. We're still on WebEx. I want to read. Thank you, Richard. That was great of you to say that. Thank you for being here, Agnes. You're such a supporter, and you're always here, and I love it. Lydia, I want to read this to everybody. She sent it to me. We are more than a physical body, more than two strands of DNA. Our electromagnetic energy bodies are real. This is who we are. We add or subtract to it every lifetime we live. This is how we grow and evolve. This is our junk DNA, and someday we'll be able to see it and read it. Rick and Patty, you have asked to annotate. Do you want to write something? I will open the board so you can write. I should do this at the end of the show every time so people can write whatever they'd like. Okay, the board's open. You can go to the T on your board and click. I'm pretty sure you can click assign privileges. Let's see, participants. Annotate. Okay, I think you can write on the board now if you would like to add something to what we're saying here. I'm going to go back and read some of the chat. Oh, we didn't really mean to say it. Okay, it's a great idea that at the end of the show, Richard, if you call our other line here, I think you could be on the show. Can you do that from your cell phone? Let's try it. Richard, I am going to give you my phone number. And let's see if you can. Well, I thought I was giving it to you. Oh, somebody's writing on the board. They just kind of ran off the end, so we don't. Let me see if I can stretch it out so we can see. No, this is, and I would. No, it's just making the words better. So you might want to go ahead and just rewrite the end of that sentence there. My cell doesn't work here. Okay. Can you call through Skype? Can you call through VoIP? Can I call you? Can we say to your people, you have a call and you need to take it on the phone? How can we arrange this? You are too valuable a host. No, Richard, I don't know the answer to that, but we will find out. hope I've answered all of your questions. Colleen, please tell me the steps to have you help me set up a business. I will buy a microphone. Buy a microphone, learn the program, go to your local radio stations, Colleen. Let's see if we can do that. Colleen, tell me where you are. Nope, that's not what I wanted to open. So, Colleen, tell me where you are. I'm having trouble seeing the chat. Thank you, Wayne. That is so sweet. Naples, Florida. Okay? Once you have learned the computer programs and you can attend all the classes, there's this whole series that's free. Naples, Florida. Radio station, wellness. As sort of a, can you really do this, we likely, okay, Richard, got it. Listen to the online radio stations. Or they can be real stations. We can do it the other way around, if this would cooperate. Naples, Florida radio stations. Well, this is getting me into deep trouble here. Let me go back one. Radio station, Naples, Florida. You go to the station, you look at the shows that they're putting on, free online radio stations, local Florida, looking for radio in Florida, radio stations in Naples, Florida, radio locator. Okay, you begin to look at all of these. Classical, probably just music, Christian contemporary, they might be interested in what we do with vaccinations. Public radio, that might be one. News and talk, there you go. Adult contemporary, find one. Let's go look at news and talk. You go look for the station, see what's on. Didn't find the station, click here. Adult news. Find unused frequencies. No, we don't want to get a station. You just want to go to the station, and they have to post a schedule. I'm having trouble getting anybody to post a schedule here. Look at this one. It's just running me right back to the whole list of stations again. But go to the station, find out what shows they do on wellness. Let us know. We'll get in touch. We'll have you in the studio as a local person. Or go to wellness colleges or schools. Tell them what you can do. We'll do a presentation for them, a free one. We'll get in touch with them for you. You can be sitting there as a local person who does nutritional consults. Now, before we do this for you, we're probably going to test you and have you do something for us on air. Okay, excellent. Thank you. And would really like to know more. This does not have word wrap function. Yes. So if you want to know more and all of what we're doing, just go to our site. Let's see if I can find our site. Sound Health Options. Happy Hour is the free, we'll do your vocal print for you. Clinical Services tells you everything that we do, free and otherwise. Assessment Options and Costs, You can get involved that way. People call us up and make appointments all the time. The personality profiler, any of the softwares, nutrition, muscles, pre-back will get you started that way. So you can also, if you want to start taking classes, I can't get back to where I need to go. If you want to start taking classes, go down to frequently asked questions. Free classes. We just did a 2-hour nano. We do demo classes for people, for your group, if you'd like. We do happy hour. We don't mind if you put a group together and you charge them 10 or 20 bucks to come watch a presentation. That's fine with us. Happy hours, those are all free. Guardian, our monthly program, where you get a year program license. With the free classes, you only get, I think, 30 days. And then you can click and you can see all of the different softwares. There's more than 100 on plan. There's about 50 of them done, all different kinds of programs. We just finished respiration and lymphedema, and we're starting one on STDs and the brain, and let me see what the list is here. This is the new software that we're putting together. Addison's disease, Huntington's, trigger points, burns, circulation, acne, lymph minerals, muscle cramps, snoring. These are all the things that are on our list to get done because people have asked them. People need them. We want to do predictive wellness. We want to help people get healthy and stay healthy. The body heals itself, but only if you're informed as to what is going on. So go to our site. Those of you who are new, and we have new people every week, and we love it. So go to our site and see what we really do. Most of the events are on our calendar. So you can just go to the events calendar. And today we have Blog Talk. We have an invitation-only class, and there's a Guardian class this evening about adrenal stress. So when you hit on like the Blog Talk radio show, there's even the link to get in. So we've tried to make it easy for you to see what we're doing, when we're doing it. Lots of videos. 3 cases supporting reversal of macular degeneration, BP oil toxin spills and how that created dengue fever. Sound frequency relationships dispelling flu. New articles, we try to put them up all the time. We try to put up new profiles as we do them. But most of what's happening right now is on the page, like the special nano class. There's a free radiation rescue class. That's there all the time. Even the registration is online. Whatever events we're doing, what new films we're doing, let's do soundhealthoptions.com/radiationclass.html. The software is here. The textbook is here. The registration is here. There's actually 2 programs here. And you can register it right online. Don't even need to get in touch with us. This is because the government just upped the levels and is trying to ram that down your throat, but that's okay, and it's not. We see people in the clinic every week, and we start looking and they're radiation poisoned. We get rid of that. And then we can put charts up for you. See if I can find a radiation chart. So that if you are poisoned with any of these, here's some nutritional antidotes. You could start a business just with this class. So whoever's been watching, they have the nano voice and they have radiation that they can use to start their business. This has to be done. People say, oh, this is free. It can't be worth anything. I'm trying to change the way people look at things. No spin, just the facts, things you need to know. I want to equate it to Oprah giving away a new car to everybody in the audience. We also give away awesome things, truthful things, integral things, things to help you, tools for a better life. Colleen, you need to write to me. Actually, you need to call me so we can take care of this. I'm going to give you my phone number here. And right after the show, call me and we'll take care of this. She wants to be in a Guardian class tonight about adrenal burnout. So do the same thing then for Minneapolis. If you live in Minneapolis, radio shows, Minneapolis, look at them. Find the hosts for us that do wellness things. Find something in your community that they're doing a workshop or a conference on wellness. If I can drive, I'll be there. I just refuse to get on a plane and go through the TSA grope down. I've got another class coming up. I really would like to hear from more of you. Colleen, please get in touch right after the show because I'll be starting another workshop in just a little bit. So it's been great being here. For those of you who are new, let us hear from you so we can get you in some other free classes. We also have free videos. Just go to soundhealthoptions.com/secretstash.html. And we'll talk with you later.